Trustees workshop on our budget, February 23rd. It's about 3:30 p.m. So we highlighted some of the major areas that people had questions on the board. I put the fire budget up front in case the chief had to leave early. I know there was some discussion on the fire marshal position. And I don't know if the chief wanted to explain it better, but it's more of a training as Schmelzer is starting to retire out for the fire marshal position.
Well, it'd be nice to know what the questions are. I can say the position's been budgeted, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, at least 4 previous budget years. I believe we had it in the budget. Previous year, we pulled that out for obvious, or not so obvious reasons, but really this is about timing and the needs and cost benefit on this. But we positioned or budgeted this position for quite a few years. We decided that this next fiscal year is the year that we put someone into the 40-hour position, really to help handle the workload that's coming into the township, both the plan review, fire investigation, community risk reduction initiatives, and annual inspections. And also it builds a succession plan underneath the deputy chief and fire marshal if and when we do split that position. You know, one of our unspoken rules is we like a deeper bench, 1 or 2 positions under each position for that transition and succession planning. So, you know, this is the year that we decided to do that. I can tell you that those of you that sit on the fire committee, I've been getting nudged and prompted and pushed to do this probably for 3 or 4 years. So, and I just wasn't sold on the timing yet in relation to everything else we got going on. But Rob and I resolved that probably 3 months ago. We decided that this next year is the time to do that. We set the pay and the job description, and it's been advertised, and we have 1 internal candidate interested. Other than that, if there's specific questions on cost comparison, the pre-qualifications, the timing, whatever, I'm here to answer any of those.
Do you guys need more time? Do you want to think about it still?
Yeah, I had to flip through and try to figure out where we're at on this thing. We're starting in the middle of sheets and everything else from our sheets, but doesn't show that on yours.
Well, I think what I heard was that this was part of the budget from before, right?
It's been about 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it's been on the budget for a
So I
long
mean, it
time.
doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna,
Yeah.
not to say not to, but.
And I'm assuming that there's budget coverage in here for this, that we've got cash in reserves to pay for the extra cost?
It would be a bid budgeted item for 22-23.
Right. So we're not going to have to increase millages or taxes or anything else in order to cover this? That's my point.
I don't believe so.
Okay. How do we verify that?
No, at the current rate, no, we don't have to. Because that was just renewed last year, so with that Headley rollback,
Mm-hmm.
so it brought it back, so we have the room to pay for it.
Okay.
One of the questions that I have is in the fire department, and we're going to have another bond payment. So now we're going to have three bond payments in the fire department. And I'm just wondering if there's going to be enough money, at least for the next 6 months, because I think Fire Station 1 is going to be up in about 5 or 6 months. And that might be a Heidi question, I don't know.
I guess it's up to you guys to all decide if the fire station is something you want to pursue. You were talking about the new station, right?
Well, I'm talking about, because, well, there's two bond payments now, correct? For Station 1 and 2? No.
Station 1 was built in 2010, 50% funded by ARRA grant. There was no bond that I know of on that building.
There was no bond at all?
No, sir. That was 50% funded out of budget and probably capital asset or fund balance, if I remember right. 50% from the feds paid for that building. Station 3, 28 Mound, was partially funded, correct me if I'm wrong, finance folks, from budget. Probably some of that property acquisition was out of fund balance, but then that's where you're starting to think about the bond money. At one point in the process, I believe it was even after state or construction began, that we heard that you're going to use bond money to fund that. Is that fair?
Yes.
Heidi, Eric,
Yeah.
Rob? So I think Station 1's out of the picture, but Station 3, 28 Mound is got some bond money tied to it.
I just want to make sure that we weren't, well, we are committed to the bond anyway, with the 20 million. So it has to be repaid. I just want to make sure that we weren't going to run a large deficit.
Right.
That's all.
So this is a good segue for me, and since I've got a captive audience, let me just say this. Look, Rob and I exist here to lead this organization strategically, into the future, right? So I can tell you, standing before you today, that this budget that you're looking at and the next budget out and all the initiatives that we've got, we're all in on the cost analysis, the timing. Let's use this new station as an example, the location, the design, the timing to move, and the location. Same with the deputy fire marshal. Same with every capital asset purchase that you see us come before you with. As your subject matter experts, we're convinced it's legitimate and it's the right time to do so. And I think I had a conversation with Trustee Dukowski last week on something like, when it comes to the financial, not so much justification, affordability, sustainability, long-term effects on our taxpayers and SADs and millages, that's where, I can't speak for Rob, but I look towards you folks to help us with that. I stand before you very convinced that the time is right to make a lot of these initiatives and investments in emergency services. I'm not a financial subject matter expert. I certainly don't want to be the chief known as the person that ran us into the negative or have to raise taxes or millage. I don't ever want to do that. But with that said, we're in an incredibly quickly growing community that is taxing your emergency services, and it's our job to keep us not only up to speed, but slightly ahead of that demand curve.
See, because conversations coming at me from here and over here and over here, I'm getting fragmented. So I just want to make sure I understand this. You're looking at adding a fire marshal this year or next year?
Deputy fire marshal beginning April 1.
So
Next year then, in terms of our
So
fiscal year,
2022, 2023.
22, 23.
Okay. Are you looking at one for 23, 24?
This is a long-term investment.
I understand. Are you looking at one for 23, 24?
Yes.
The same person, right?
Same person. We're sustaining this.
I understand, but are you looking at adding a second one in
No,
23,
no, sir.
24? That's my
No.
question, sir. So I'll get a little bit more specific.
I'm stumbling a little bit because I'm looking at Rob in the corner of my eye. In that year 2 forecasted budget that is probably in front of you, pretty sure that was in there, right? What we can't tell you is when we're going to split the fire marshal deputy chief position, but when that happens,
Yeah, I just want to get my head into the game here. what we're
one
looking at.
person over the next 2 years. A
Gotcha.
deputy fire marshal
Okay.
to work under Snow.
The fire station, I'm going to go to our conversation. Right now, you said you just wanted to secure the land. You did not want a new fire station. You do not see a need in that area for a fire station. There's no construction over there, there's no building.
No, that's not our conversation.
That's my recollection.
Yeah.
That
well,
you were looking to secure the land and that in 3 or 4 years, possibly building the fire station.
Oh.
You wanted to make sure you had the land, of which this board has yet to vote on, even agreeing that that's where the land is going to be.
Okay. So,
We voted already for pre-authorization for AUK and AEW.
We still haven't voted on that, and I've
Yeah,
mentioned that
but I'm
three
saying-
times now.
let me- if I may, let me just, because, you know, I'm getting older, my short-term memory is not what it used to be. So let me address the question. Our conversation, we're kind of bouncing on each side of the fence. When we started this initiative, you're right, my goal was to secure land for 4 stations to mirror and adhere to the station distribution study that we did 2015, was it? Okay.
I remember that.
As your chief, my goal was to get our name on those parcels, right? So we didn't have to worry about what we went through at 28 Mound. That is urgently looking for property that didn't exist. We got really, really lucky, sir. I didn't want that to happen. So you're right, that is a goal, and that was an early on goal and initiative. The other thing is, and you all know this, we had to update Station 2 at 11285 30 Mile. No longer fits our needs. It was a building never designed or constructed for a full-time fire department. You all get that. You've heard me say it till you're nauseated. So, and we've also budgeted for many years, Rob, 5, to update, remodel, reinvest into that building on 30 Mile, 11285. I kept kicking that can down the road. I own that because we're going to be building Station 3. We're looking at property. I rationalized it however you want to put it. And I never reinvested in the building. We realized that it's the timing now to look at that. We went out to bid. It was over $1 million to renovate that, as you know, to update and to make appropriate living quarters for male and female firefighters and whatever. It was at that point when we reconvened, I don't know if it was fire committee or finance, correct me if I'm wrong, and we all kind of looked at each other and went, man, I don't know if the cost benefit's there. I think it is time now. If we're going to invest that kind of money, let's look at a new building that is in the right area and is something we can grow into. That's really like what started us down that path at 30 and Powell on that next station location. Prior to that, and I may have said this to you, it's been a struggle for me, like on timing. Where do we go? Do we go 31 Mile between Campground and Mound? Do we go 30 and Powell? We knew we had to be in those locations. I just couldn't tell you when because dynamic business, our community's growing, we're watching the run volumes, the response times, the demographics, the census, all that stuff that your leaders look at, we're watching. But really, it was the cost to remodel Station 2, and then it was what we're seeing with Station 3, 28 Mound, and how quickly they can get up into that northwest section, almost arriving at the same time with Station 2 on 30 Mound. That really made me go, okay, we're covered. So that helps me see what our next move is, and that's 30 and Powell in terms of needs and response times and appropriate coverage up in the northwest. Is that anything at all like ringing a bell with the conversation?
So you're saying that, yes, you want a fire station this year?
What I'm saying is 30 and Powell is the location where we need to be. We need
I understand that. I'm asking for this budget year, are you looking for a station to be there this year?
I am looking to move there this year or next, with the caveat, and I'm looking to the people in this room on the financial side of things, affordability, sustainability, not raising taxes. Those experts need to lead us as well. Rob and I are here to provide subject matter expertise on everything else that we're doing. And this is why I'm a little hesitant. We budgeted money, right? And then we had ARPA money, and then we had bond money. And I think Rob will support me in this. All the way through this process, that's kind of changed a little bit. And I heard Heidi, one of the last meetings, say, hey, stood up right here, and she said, hey, the fire department's out of bond money. And then I heard the clerk Berlinski say, hey, ARPA money is really probably not for that. And that's when I looked at Rob and went, okay, I need better confidence in the financial leadership, and it's in this room right now. Because when we were leaning into this, I thought we had ARPA money, and I thought we had bond money, and I know we have fund balance, ladies and gentlemen, that's
We don't have those numbers. And that's
pretty
what we're trying to
substantial
get
fund balance, okay? And I know we have to operate on some of that, but on the flip side of that, we should not be carrying that much fund balance for a rainy day because our taxpayers paid their taxes for us to run this organization. So there's just this fine line of managing fund balance and the government funds and the needs analysis on my organization. You know, we're feeling pressure from a lot of different angles, and it's sustainable, but at some point, we do need to move. And I think the timing is now with we've outgrown Station 2. Station 3 is covering that northwest beautifully. Those are all things that have persuaded me to move. I hesitate because I need someone to look at the books and tell us 10, 12, 15 years out, if we're going to invest $4 million in that station, that you're good to go. You're not going to raise taxes, it's sustainable, you don't have to raise your millage. That's where I need confidence from another angle above us. Is that fair, Rob? What's that?
We need the same thing, we need that same confidence, because I don't know what the fund balance is, and I have no projections at all. That 15-year life cycle that you just talked about, I have nothing.
Yeah. I
So
will tell you this.
all I have is a piece of paper with this and this.
Yeah.
I have nothing else.
I couldn't agree more. I can tell you this, Mr. Dukowski, we can't survive 4 years at Station 2 at 11/285/30 mile. I can't do it. It's not right to our employees. We can't grow into it. I don't have enough room to up staff there with male and female firefighters. So, you know, I'll own that. I didn't give us a lot of time, but we do need to do something there. And I think it's probably in our best interest to really look hard at moving into a new facility, as long as it's affordable. And Rob, if you can add anything, if I missed anything, if there's any other questions. But that's pretty much our conversation. And right.
I just want to interject to your question. There's a bond money of 20-some million, correct? You're aware of. Approximately $4 million has been allocated based upon the financial statements, or else from the Northern Canfield.
That's bond money, that's not the fire fund.
Yes, it is.
It is
there
bond
was a-
money in the fire
That was
fund.
spent towards
There-
the other fire station, not this one.
Pardon me?
It was
That
spent.
money was spent at the 20 Mount Fire Station,
Yeah.
not this one.
Okay.
For the $4 million we don't have there. Is that what I just heard you say?
Yes, as the chief said, we have a healthy fund balance that we were thinking of using that to cover the expense of this and maybe possibly part of the ARPA money.
So what's our current fund balance?
Rounding $8 million
That's for
In
bond.
fire only?
for fire.
Not in bond, that's for fire.
Yeah.
That's the fund
Fire
balance.
ambulance or just fire?
How do you give that figure? Because, you know, between fire and ambulance, both of those
Ambulance
budgets.
might be a little, maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking we were closer to 11, but.
Yeah, no, but the ambulance is,
No.
I'm just gonna fire, I'm sorry.
So 11's total.
Well, let me, you know, again, memory, right? You know, Heidi's our expert there, and maybe the treasurer, but,
7.15.
But I mean, even if all the lights were green lights to build this fire station, we couldn't break ground before October anyways. There's a lot of, and that's moving at a fast pace and all green lights. I mean, that's why we kind of have it shown over the next 2 years, because it probably won't be until maybe next winter if everything were to go
But
smooth.
I understand what the chief's saying, that eventually a move needs to happen. In my mind, we just built the fire station, we need to let some dust settle, and then take a step back and then look at it for next year.
yeah, I think my rationale and my process was get the property, get our name on that deed, if you will. And then this board did the next most appropriate thing is we hired a construction manager and our architecture folks for pre-construction services, because we're leaning into a budget. We needed that in place first to get this budget. We don't even really know what this is going to cost in this environment today with, you know, the cost of living and everything that's just through the roof. So we need that number to really make any decision on our next step. But at a minimum, I really need the fire department's name on that parcel ID in those two areas. And
These are the fund balances, excuse me, these are the fund balances that you got from Plant Moran. So it's got all the totals on the bottom there. So you'll see it's 7.5 for fire and 4 point, what is it, 4.5 for ambulance.
so almost 12, am I doing right?
Yeah, well, the math, yeah. This was in that, package they gave you.
There's a lot of.
Oh, no, you said it all, that's why I'm.
You know, the next number that's important is what do we need to keep in there to function
Right.
between tax collection dates, right? I could guess, but I'm not the guy to guess. Schmelzer's way closer than me. But, you know, we need to know what that is. So we need to know how far we can deplete that fund balance that's appropriate for our taxpayers, that still gives us a rainy day fund, but also allows us to function in between tax collection dates.
And this station should cost a lot cheaper because we're not buying two houses. That time we spent about $450 to buy them and knock them down. Here we got the land at $5,000 an acre, so it's, land-wise, it's very, but with the inflation cost, obviously, it'll probably make.
And building costs, materials, and everything else is
Yeah,
going to
might
be
end up
higher.
at $450.
Chief,
So we average 2 million, I mean, $1 million for each year on both ambulance and fire to spread it out for the 4.
Chief, we got this, we're talking about the piece on the piece of property on 30 Mile Powell. And we just bought that chunk, that 10-acre chunk on, what, 31 Mile, right? On Campground Mountain?
It's not all.
Yes, but I didn't, you know, here I'm speaking on behalf of the finance. I have not seen that cost come out of the fire or ALS budget yet for that property. I think general fund bought that and
I think we have to pay that back. Or you have to
Well-
pay us for that, right?
certainly at some point, you know.
We basically have to do a journal entry for 5 acres and sell it.
Okay, so my question goes deeper than that. If tomorrow you had to make a decision on the property, given trustee Detkowski's statement that the 30 Mile in Powell is kind of undeveloped as opposed to the 31 Mile where there's kind of a lot of development going on over there, does it make sense to build the one on 30 in Powell first before the one on 31?
Yeah, thank you, great question. Maybe we did talk about this, or I'm imagining stuff. So that's a good question. Part of the benefit of us, me dragging my feet, is we are able to see some of the response time analysis out of Station 3. They are getting up into 32 mile amount quickly, well within our metrics and our benchmarks and our, you know, the NFPA standards that are required. So population isn't always the only driver. Response times, call for service types, the demand. We are seeing a big demand in Station 1's area, and it's in our strategic planning is even more, I don't want to say concerning, but it's got our attention, right? Because everyone in the room knows how the south end is populating. Station 1 today is running 2-to-1, 3-to-1 other stations. They're very busy, which means I have to calculate our outlying stations coming into Station 1's area on the overlapping runs that you've also been seeing in the monthly report. That location at 30 in Powell is beautiful. It gets us on that side of the freeway that dissects us into a third or two-thirds, however you see it. Gives us quick access to the freeway, Mr. Kopp, which means a very reduced response time into Station 1's district. Rob and I believe firmly that if we get that station planted there, that we can shrink the Station 1 district, because 30 in Powell, believe it or not, will actually beat Station 1 all the way down into the 20, what do we call that, the junction? Van Dyke and M53, I never know what to call that thing. That'll be station, I'm going to call that new Station 2. That'll be their district, I believe, on our preliminary runs on response times. Because there's no good access for Station 1 to get on that M53 going north or south. It's very troubling. So that's another very influential decision-making point for me, is that quick access to the freeway, quick north and south, and it's definitely gonna reduce Station 1's response area. But that's why you're seeing us recommend that we move over.
Gotcha, understood now. Thank you.
We also, like from last meeting too, if the timing's correct, by the time the station is built, Meyer will be building up there, all the outlets, everything will be up there.
They're not there until 2023.
Yeah, sometime in 23.
So
Which
we
is-
help out
which is-
for
yeah, next year.
one more budget session if we never ask.
Yeah, I mean, just because it's on the budget doesn't mean we're gonna spend it either. We haven't done that either. But, again, it's up to you guys for consideration. Any other questions? I mean,
Nope.
I wanted to jump to some other, I'll let you guys, you can think about it. The next thing was the building report. We put that out there. We're projecting to follow pace at 175 permits again this year. We think it's a reasonable number. We get that number this year. Basically, with a few subs that have been going on for the past 3 years, we're showing that should hit the numbers. So the budget, there's really no changes on this. Other the building department's requesting a new F-150 for the. We need a new truck because right now we're a truck short for the guys. So
Didn't we just buy 2 trucks?
that was for DPW department. So that, and then we will have one retirement, but we'll replace that person so there'll be no loss in personnel. But you'll see the one-time buyout. I think it's 25,000 or 50,000 for the buyout of the one retiring. But there's no real or major change. Again, the truck will come to the board whenever we're ready to buy it.
Are we getting rid of the truck or is that?
No, we need to add it. We just have 2. We have 3 guys. So they're kind of sharing the truck right now. Or we have to, they have to use their own car and use the mileage. The next item, the next budget is the DPW budget. I think, Rich, you have one guy doing addition guy this year.
Yeah, I'm going to ask for a guy to replace Jason in the field. And since we've taken over all the inspections for the engineering company from Giffords, we're asking for one guy to be inspector, which would move up in, what I'm saying is one of the lower guys would move up into the inspection spot, and we'd start another guy at the lower spot. We got to work, we got 100 and some, we got taps, we got sewer cleaning that we're still working through the township, we're doing TV and camera. We're trying to do a little bit more of everything we can, but it's just, we're getting bogged.
We're looking at 2 new people?
This one is just for, I think Heidi, one for this year to replace Jason, I think.
I had another person in there as well.
Oh, and the inspector.
And then a permanent part-time person.
And then we always have a permanent part-time person working for us. We didn't hire him this year. We couldn't get people to work. We like to put that person back on and maybe that can float into the following year's next person, you know.
So 1 new person this year.
Correct.
Rich, have you done the walk of the, taking over that business from the inspection part of the business from Giffords?
Oh,
Does
yeah.
it make financial sense to do
I
that?
mean, I go through it with Stan and Sam quite a bit with that, and when Dan was here too, it just, if you only knew how much you were spending on inspection alone.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like saying that about Mike, but I mean, it's most companies like that, but I'll bet we're not even a third of that, or
So we're saying,
quarter of it.
okay, that's good. Okay.
Sorry, Mike. Can I say one more thing? And I know everyone's been talking about that building. I budgeted that building to start it. It's really, I mean, it's so crammed in there now. I'm just looking to the future, just like he's doing with his department. I really don't want to take the fire station over there and invest money into knocking that down or whatever you think we can do with it. I just think the time is now to get the spot, to take the spot maybe where I don't think anyone's really interested in the property north of the cemetery on Powell Road. Okay? I'd like to have sewer, which we don't have now. We're sort of jammed in there. when we had the board meeting Wednesday night, last Wednesday night, the guys woke up coming into the work, it was all flooded. Not nothing against Stan's guys or nothing, it was the old roof. It's coming through the walls and it's coming through the ground there. So that's where everything comes through there. It's just time. I take any one of you to come over there. Dan, you've been there. I love to take Cindy, and I think Gary's been there, and Mike. Come and look at it. You know, it's time to move that stuff inside. It's just, it's so unorganized, and you just got to fight through it every time you got any kind of weather. I feel that we have the funds. I'm not the fund master. I don't know, you know, that if we have enough to spend on that. I'd like to start it. That's why I put it in the budget. I had it in the last two, just for a start to look at it. Maybe someone can draw, you know, an architect.
So what is our fund balance right now for the DPW budget, Sam?
It's really high. I don't want to say the wrong
Look
thing.
at her, she's right on.
I know it's real high.
Look at that. Good job, Amy.
All right.
That was there.
If you include assets, I mean.
We can't see you at all, I know you're scrolling.
He was pushing 100 million with assets.
You see water sewer?
He was pushing 100 million with assets.
Enterprise? So water and sewer,
Yeah.
77
Close to
fund
80.
balance.
We have a $77 million fund balance in DPW for water and sewer.
That's a net position, that's not a fund balance, right?
It's together. Some of it's assets though, too.
Restrictions right here.
About half that amount is cash.
Hey, Dan, I heard you talking before when you guys were talking about water and sewer. When I worked at Clinton, we had a water and sewer department, and we had a DPW. When some of the cities have, Fraser has probably, I think a DPW, cities have both departments, or the water and sewer comes out, it's all different. So I don't, you know, I try to manage the money the best I can. I rely on these two, you know.
Well, Shelby got spanked, was it last year? Because they had so much fund balance on water and sewer.
Yeah.
I remember when I was there, it was like $40 million. We're pushing that number right here.
Yeah, they got sued, or I think it was $6 million. That doesn't make me get the building. You know what I'm saying? I just think the building it's overdue.
It's a great problem to have.
You know, it might take away some of your problems in here.
Yeah, I mean, we're thinking of making a full DPW, cutting grass, pushing the snow, get rid of all the outside vendors, and become a full DPW.
Have we done any cost analysis on there to see an investment in equipment and storage and bodies and everything else versus what we contract out? Have we done any kind of analysis there?
No, I mean, Stan sees the bills all the time.
Well,
pushing
the
snow.
bills are one thing, but having a cost analysis.
Yeah, we can do it.
That's what we should do when you're looking at doing something like that. You should know what your projected cost is going to be. It's not going to be, it's got to be within 10%.
Yeah.
So that should be done.
I'm not asking for the extra work right now but I think
doesn't want
sooner
extra.
or later, you'd love to see a chipper truck or something here. Or a guy that with a couple chainsaws to take care of some of the stuff that we get every day. I can't do it. You know, I mean, it's hard for me to be a DPW director and say, I can't cut that tree, Gary, on 29 Mile Road.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't have the equipment or, you know, I'm not set up for it.
You know, I hear what you're saying, Rich, and I like the idea that you're looking to the future. But I think what I need to see is an overall building plan of everything we're doing before we start doing this little piecemeal thing here, piecemeal thing there. I want an overall plan of what are we doing overall instead of doing.
We do, we have it drawn up. Right?
Oh, you mean the
You mean
actual
the hard
building,
thing?
the actual building, or?
No, an overall
Yeah,
plan
what
for
we-
township,
The
parks
overall
and
plan,
rec.
what we do every day, what
Right.
numbers,
What?
what we do every day, right?
I can't, what?
What we do every day.
No, 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 no. No,
We need to look at a capital plan for the business.
right.
Where we're going, 1 year, 5 year, 10 year down the road,
Thank
what are we
you.
spending
Yeah,
on?
okay.
And I would think that the new DPW building you're proposing would be part of a capital plan.
Right. Exactly.
I'll just say one more thing. You guys bought me all of you here. We've got good equipment. It doesn't belong out there like that, you know. I know you gotta use it during the day, but when it's sitting out every night, it just, all that stuff, plows, lights, generators.
Well, back to Cindy's point, we do need to understand exactly what our capital outlay is going to be year 1, year 2, year 3, all the way to at least year 15, to know that we can sustain this without being a burden on the taxpayers.
We'll work on that.
This is this is the capital plan that they have provided so far.
I don't know, is 28 or Autumn Creek on there?
Yeah, pump station improvements?
Yeah, I can't see.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right, first year it's got, I think it says $500,000 there. Well, I lost a pump yesterday at Autumn Creek. It shot. So I have to come back to Sam and Stan and the group that I have to get 2 pumps, which would come off that. I have the money in the budget to buy them if I had to get them, well, I have to get them in March, okay? I'm running with 1 pump. I don't need a heavy rain, I don't need any of that. So, but I'll be coming back to you, just so you guys know what's going on. That I'm buying 2 pumps, which that's what the budget calls for. This will give me 1 of the same pumps as a on-the-shelf pump that I can use. If this ever happens to the guy 5 years or 6 years down the line, then he can pull it off the shelf and use it. We have that at 26 Mile and Hayes right now. You know, an extra pump.
Is it the same pump?
No,
No.
it's a lot smaller pump station. So, and right now they're trying to figure out where they're gonna get the pumps right now in the United States. So, it's a flight pump, it's a good pump. It's one that's not supposed to clog, but that's what we're going to. But that's coming, just so you know.
What's the lead, how long is it gonna take to get that?
They can't give me the time right now. That's what Kirk just called me now. They're just trying to figure out where in the heck they're gonna get 2. We need 2 of the same pumps.
So how much are we looking at for a new DPW building? And
The
do we
rough
need to
numbers
acquire
are
land
nice.
for it too? And do we need to acquire land for it too?
No, the idea was to use the land next to the wastewater treatment plant, because
Okay, so how much
it's
do we
behind the
build?
cemetery, nobody's gonna want it. Roughly, we're looking at $3 million to build that building. It would kind of mimic what Shelby and Macomb Township have. It would be enough to park all the equipment in there and actually house office staff and even put like a drive-through window to help pay water bills in there as well. But I'm saying, again, with rising costs, that's the rough number we got, because
3 million
the
piece of
actual,
land? 3
well,
million piece
the
of
land we already own, yeah, the land was like 5 an acre, but we're looking at just a few acres. What was that one? Sorry, what do they call that? That big, not a barn, where they park all
The bulwark?
Yeah, it's
or
well,
what was that what they call
you
it?
can call whatever the name of it be, with an office in front.
Yeah, there'd be like a small office, the majority of it was big.
It's basically set up just the way all the other utilities have it, like Shelby or what Macomb. Clinton, all of them, Sterling Heights. It'd be like a little brick office in the front that I can have the ladies there. In the back of my mind, I still think I need to leave one here, you know, at the main office. But I need to get out to get some room with this stuff with these pre-cons, all that.
But again, again, we're showing it in year one, but again, we don't, you know, from paper to building, it probably won't happen until next year kind of thing anyway.
Okay, do we have a copy of this somewhere? I don't recall seeing it. Okay, okay, thank you.
Maybe we can, going, yeah. So I'll let you guys think about this. Next item is the treasury budget.
Where are we going?
Did you print
Treasury.
this or no?
It's the 9th page of the general fund.
101,253.
It's 101,253, Gary, in the general fund.
Like this?
No. In your general fund packet,
It's got green and white lines.
Okay, agree with my lines up?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll find it.
there's the 9th page in it.
Okay. And which department?
Yeah, well, I wrote treasury on the top.
253.
Okay, treasurer. Okay, I'll find it. I've got it here somewhere.
This is Mike Nicely's budget. I don't know if you can just scroll down to the notes. I don't know, say the one. Oh, they just put extra hired. I'm sorry to go back to the top. You're seeing in that row 101, 253, 703. He's asking for, was he asking for a second deputy clerk and another?
A full-time person and another person to learn the deputy position and additional part-time wages.
So,
We already turned down this.
we did at the meeting, he's trying to, you know, he's
We're on the
putting.
treasury right now. He's treasury.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll let you guys, I mean,
Should we just move it? What do we do? We vote to move it right now, or how does that happen? Because
Well, we're in a
I'm,
workshop, we can't vote. We
right.
can make a recommendation to vote.
I recommend we take that out.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, so Heidi can take a note if you don't
Yeah.
mind.
And what do we take out?
The 100 grand for the extra
I got
person?
105,212. So that's the number I got.
All right, so let me get caught up if you got it. I apologize for having stuff up.
That was the two positions, having only that 105, that would be the
Yeah,
deputy.
let me pull up the details so I have.
Treasury? Page 9, in the general fund.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, page 9.
Well, I think she's going to take that.
And then we've only done on the kiosk too. Why is that in there?
What I did, I put it in year 2, so it really, just as more of a reminder for future years, but it doesn't mean we're approving that for next year.
Yeah,
But you can take it out, if you guys want it out, take it out.
yeah, if it's in the budget, it feels like he's gonna say, it's in the budget, I'm buying it. What,
No,
why
no,
can't we
no,
make it
no.
like a separate line item? Like maybe future line item, maybe sort of, we'll think about kind of thing, but not in the budget?
You know, the thing about the kiosk is we had no idea what they were about, we were,
Yeah.
they're the treasurer. He said, well, you know, and his statement in the meeting was, well, I don't know, I got this out of a catalog.
The only thing I would recommend, if we could in year one, if we could put 3 months, or at least, I don't know, 6, 8 weeks for training, there'll be some overage with the new deputy, old deputy. There should be some sort of a few weeks training.
Wait, can you repeat that? I can't hear you, what?
No, I'm saying there should be at least a few weeks for cross-training between the old deputy clerk and the new deputy clerk,
Do we know when she's retiring yet?
sometime in '23. I'm saying I'm only asking for 3 or 4 weeks, I'm not asking.
You know, it's
for-
interesting, so, as you know, we were all up at WBRW last night, and we talked to a clerk from another township
Oh, yeah,
who became the clerk.
the treasurer,
And had no
the
deputy
treasurer,
clerk. Excuse me, she had,
She
the
became the
treasurer.
treasurer.
I said it wrong. She
Yeah.
became the treasurer.
yeah.
And she knew by statutory, by law, that she had to have a deputy treasurer. But because the treasurer and the deputy treasurer resigned in a meeting and dropped their keys,
Oh,
she was the only one. She hit the ground running, and within a short amount of time, she had it under control. And then she hired a deputy treasurer, and that person, she was able to walk her through it.
Right.
So I don't know why we need a treasurer, a deputy treasurer, and then an overlap.
okay. No, I was just asking for 3 or 4 weeks.
No, but do you understand my point, Sam?
Yeah, no, I
You
do.
know, if we can do it, if they can be done someplace else, why can't it be done here?
How did we do it in the clerk's office when we had that overlap?
So we had several weeks in which Christine stayed on while the new deputy came on board.
So was it part of salary, or was it a contract person, or how was
It's
it?
part of
salary.
salary.
Part of salary?
So right now, I just pulled up the detail, he's got, the deputy treasurer, the current clerical full-time person, and then he's budgeting for the 2 additional positions in 22-23, which get up to $97,760. That's in full-time.
Mike, you have a lot of experience in this. Can you give us your take on this?
I'd say 4 or 5 months max, because when you hire in, and if he does it the proper way of advertising, he should get qualified people that are probably currently deputies, or else, backing up. And he mentioned about special assessments are so special. Well, they're not that special. Every community follows the same format that Seaver gives, so there's nothing special about special assessments. There's work involved. I mean, I'm not downplaying, like as far as the job itself. I'm not saying it's not important. Everything is important, but sometimes you don't need a lot of time to catch on to one municipality to another, because they're basically the same jobs. You have to send warrants to the county clerk. They're all the same. They aren't different. So the job should be, as long as the right person is hired that has the experience, that knows BSNA and has done most of those duties. It's a matter of just knowing the internal differences, which in most cases are going to be pretty much the same.
The one thing that I'd like to avoid is what we ran into the building department when we had the building director retire, and then he was kept on as a contract employee afterwards, and yet we had a building director who was more than capable of handling that department. So I want to make sure that we don't go down that path again. Why do we have a person who's retired still here trying to run things? Should not happen.
When they retire, they retire. Turn your keys in.
I'm not asking for an entire year, I asked for
No,
3
no,
or 4 weeks.
I'm making a point.
Yeah.
Would that be in 23-24 or in 22-23 for this cross-training period? Maybe we have that wrong in the budget.
I don't know if she's retiring in January or April or May, I don't know.
So you want it to be in the 22-23?
She's retired in April.
I would say remove it, and once we get a, here's the firm retirement date, and we have it in writing, not verbal, then we can make an amended budget, and I'm okay with that.
Me too.
So what do we say? We're recommending that we pull out how much money?
Just pull it all out, and when we finally get a date, and if we need to add some money to the budget to get a person in there and get them trained, we just make an amendment on the budget and we go for it. You know, I don't see that as an issue, instead of throwing money in ahead of time and somebody thinking they can do whatever they want.
And what about the part-time person?
Do we need the part-timers?
I think you need a part-time, sorry.
Cannot hear you at all.
I just think you may need a part-time person if, as things are right now, you may need a part-time person just for the busy times of the year, but I don't know why he bumped it up so high, because it's a lot higher in 22, 23 than it was.
Maybe we could do like a co-op instead of a part-time.
Pardon?
Maybe a co-op instead of a part-time person.
With the high school kind of thing?
Yeah.
Because just like Mike Mason said that he's going to be really, really busy right now, and I'm watching the door, there's hardly anyone coming in.
Well, next Monday will be real busy.
So I think a co-op person or
I mean, it is busy different times of the year.
I understand that.
Then sometimes it's.
So is that our opportunity to department share?
That's what I was going to say, you know. Maybe between maybe assessing or maybe clerk's office, part-time to do, you know, certain jobs during certain times that they're a little more busier.
Hannah can talk about that.
Yeah, the treasurer's office has used my part-time more in the last 2 months than I have.
No.
And she went to classes and got her MCAT and did everything she needed to do to work in assessing, and we hardly ever have her because they're so busy in the treasurer's office, they need her. She's been there more than she's been there.
So Patty, what's the increase in the treasurer's office that's driving that?
It's just people over a certain age like to come in and pay their taxes in person, like to come and pay their water bills in person. Having the water bills every month really did increase it. Since I've been here, there used to be 4 people in the treasurer's office. Now there's 3. And it's just, they're busy.
One thing I think maybe
They
though.
do take all the permit fees now. They used to do that themselves back when I first started. That the girls in building did their own fees and building fees. Now it all goes to the treasurer's office. Anytime money's exchanged or paid, they go to the treasurer's office. And it's hard for Michelle to get her warrants and paperwork and deputy treasurer stuff done when she's constantly back and forth to that window.
How many heads are in the treasury department right now? What do we got in there? I'm totally
You
lost.
have
Right this
3
minute, you have
full-time,
a
So
treasurer,
we got the
deputy,
treasurer,
and
we've got the
secretary.
deputy treasurer, and,
a full-time staff
Full-time.
person, and then some
Okay.
part-time.
okay.
wait, we
And
got Mike,
aren't we
Michelle.
time-sharing Jessica in there also?
She's been helping on
And
reconciliation.
Patty's saying you got somebody that's getting
And
time shared in
Morning
there.
goes back and forth.
Jessica helps, you help,
So we've got 5 heads in treasury right
and
now.
they're constantly.
Either on
Well,
full-time or
Jessica's been
part-time.
training the new person that took her spot.
Well, no, okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay, I'm just gonna say the elephant in the room. Would it make a big difference if Mike was actually here all day? I mean, it's the elephant in the room, isn't it?
Well, the bigger elephant in the room is, would it make a difference if he was here at the meeting?
At all? Is he here? Like, how many hours does he work? And now he wants more people to help.
right now.
Well, it's a busy time right now. I
I
can
know.
understand why. If it's busy, I understand. But
I just
I
don't
understand
see
your
hiring
question.
more people if he's getting paid full-time wages and I don't know how many hours he works. I don't know. Does he work 10, 20, 30, 40? I don't know when he works. All I know is I hear constantly that Mike's not there. Mike's hardly ever there.
I don't think we can answer that question. I don't know.
Okay, so Heidi, if you want to make a note just to remove everything, and we'll make an amendment if
I wrote
the
it
board
down.
approves anything in the future.
It'd be easier if somebody was here to defend their position or offer the position than for us to take a guess at what their position is.
Correct. Good.
We've had this discussion at the board table, I think, before. He proposed somebody as a interim training
Year and a
deputy
half in advance,
supervisor.
right.
And we said no. So it seems now the budget is asking for the same thing, and my answer is, it's still no. So whatever that incremental value is to this budget, I would suggest that we just pull it out.
Yeah, the full-time is 97,000.
And, okay, I would go with the 97,000 to reduce the budget.
And then what about the part-time? Are you looking to put that down a bit?
Oh, it would be nice to hear from Mike
Yeah,
about that before we make an answer, don't you think? Or somebody from Treasury.
well, let me look over the stand. If you have, do you have a part-time budget?
We do for elections, yes.
Okay. How much money are we looking at for part-time budget for the clerk's office?
I don't think they're apples and apples to compare.
No, well,
Because
you've got
maybe
busy
we can
times,
change.
he's got busy times. I'm just looking for something, how big the elephant is.
I guess prefer to Heidi to.
Yeah, just a
Because I know
second, I'll
exactly
go
what that number is right now.
I have no feel for $13,000 for a part-time person. I don't know if that's a lot of money or a little money.
At what, how much an hour do they get?
I noticed that he put that up quite a bit in 22-23 versus 23-24. He's only got 5,000, so why the big increase
That
next year?
doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah, that doesn't.
Unless he's thinking that he needs a part-time person at the counter when he's hiring these new people. If you're hiring too many new people at once, that maybe is a problem as well.
Yeah, they need to get trained.
So if you're talking 13,000, at, let's say $20 an hour, I'm sure there's no benefits paid for a part-time person, right?
Correct.
We're looking at $750, $800. That's one person, a third of a year.
$650.
Yeah.
I mean, I think just leaving it at $5,000 a month, pay a co-op.
I would go with that.
Me too.
I would go with that.
I'm saying, I think it's like $10 a co-op.
I'm good with that too.
There's one item too, I think, that I would like to have done, is split out Platte Moran in every budget separate. As a contracted person, because you could have, like you have 740.2, you can have 740.3 Platte Moran. This way, that will eliminate a lot of questions, hopefully, in the future.
Yeah, that's a large, that's $50,000 in there for a professional. We don't even know what that means. I'm sure Heidi knows.
Yeah,
We
hang on
don't.
one second.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that is Platte Moran.
Professional tech services,
Audits.
Platte Moran?
That's not all of it, though. Hang on one second.
Oh, that's 50/50 between
There's
treasury and
some
clerks, right?
additional things in there.
He's got $34,125 in the budget for audit services, and then the other $14,625 he's got for BSNA for custom services that may need additional things from.
Got some software changes he wants to BSNA?
Yes.
How much of it was Platte Moran?
34,125, and then the 14,625 for BSNA.
34,000, you've got an audit in there, and it usually runs.
Well, it's not the full audit, part of that's reconciliations or additional help from the team as far as reconciling monthly accounts.
So theoretically, that should go away, right? Because once we get this budget reconciled, hopefully, at the end of the budget year, that should go
Well,
away.
I thought the plan was to continue to keep them on. Wasn't that at some point said that he wants to keep Platte Moran on a regular basis to do the reconciling?
That's what was stated, yes.
And again, we still don't have recommendations back from Platte Moran to tell us where we need to be moving forward, backwards, or whatever we need to do.
We were gonna weigh it out if it's cheaper to hire a person to do it, or if Platte Moran, each month they get faster and faster, the costs keep going down, so that may be, I mean, by March, we're hoping to get a recommendation from Platte Moran.
Who should be doing the reconciliation now? Plant Moran wasn't on the plan right now. Who should be doing it?
Again, this is government accounting, so it's square from the home, but, what is it? The accounting side, obviously, you guys do the expense part, treasury does the income part, and then together they
Okay,
marry the two together.
okay. Are we suggesting that we don't have enough labor now to do that? That's why we're gonna augment with Plant Moran?
Well, not to talk too much, but that was part of the problem between, I don't know how to say it out loud, I mean,
Some of the things were being done previously over here to cover for over here. And when the change occurred, when Kathy left, when Heidi came in, before Kathy left, there was you're not going over to do your reconciliations over in the other department. So
they had stopped.
we've taken that
communication
step.
between the two.
That step happened, what, June, somewhere 2020? Somewhere around there?
I mean, sort of, because I sort of still was helping with stuff,
Yeah.
but I
We
mean,
walked in and things were already behind, so.
Yeah.
Agreed. But let's just say in a perfect world, that all this, I guess I'm looking at Heidi.
Their job
and
couldn't
you.
get done because it wasn't getting done over there, so their department was going into the other department, helping figure out what all needed to be done, so
Right.
accounting could finish what they needed to do.
So I'm gonna look to Heidi again. If the reconciliation was up to speed, everything was reconciled, do we need incremental help from Plant Moran?
if you want my honest opinion, I'd like to say no, I'd like to say that could be done in-house, but with the situation the way it is, it sounds as though my leaders do not feel that the staff in the department that's meant to be doing the reconciliations would be able to manage that going forward. So that's what I'm hearing.
Because of labor, the wrong labor, and sitting in the
Because
wrong spot?
processes don't want to be changed.
That's what we think Plant Moran will identify as to where this
Uh-huh.
issues or whatever it may be.
Yeah, but we also had health issues that we were behind vacation time. There's all sorts of time, it was more of a time constraint more than anything.
Well, based upon the job description of the deputy, it's bank recs. Based upon the treasurer, he's supposed to be the treasurer that knows how to do the bank recs. Simple as that. That's what his job description was when he applied for it 6 years ago.
Are all these people willing to go to training to learn how to do their job so we don't have to, do they need extra training? Is that what they need? Training? I don't know.
I would,
I feel like some people want to change the way they do things no matter what. What kind of training you provide, they're saying, I'm comfortable doing it this way, and I will only do it this way.
Oh, okay.
Even
Even if
though
it's
we
wrong?
presented a better way.
Even if it's wrong?
Well, even if there's a better way.
If there's a process, and it's an approved process, and the 3 full-time elected say, this is the way we're gonna do it, and the 4 trustees back them up and say, yes, that's the way it's going to be done, then there should be no discussion as to, then it's gonna be done that way. If it says it's gotta be done in BS&A, it's gotta be done in BS&A. And if an employee can't do that, then that's a different issue, and if they want to talk in closed session or in an open session, I'm quite willing to do that.
Well said.
So Heidi, by the time this is all over, do you think, is Plant Moran going to give us the necessary feedback in terms of how we're going to solve this problem?
I feel that they have been well aware from the beginning as far as what we would like to see happen list-wise of improvements and things like that, but it sounds like from the township perspective, those changes are not all going to be happily received or changed.
Then can we get a summary of those changes that are not going to be happily received and that we can discuss at the board table?
I think that's a good idea.
Thank you. I think that would be a good way to proceed with that right there. We just pull everybody together and say, hey, we're all on the same page, we're all on the same team. Like Mr. Nicely says, there is no I in team. Well, damn it, let's live up to it, let's own it.
Do we have any idea about timing for when Plant Moran's going to come back with the recommendations?
I can ask.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, good, thank you.
and then one other point that was brought up too, that accounting does expenditures. that really doesn't have a whole lot of merit for doing a bank rec. Because you look at the bank recs, the money coming in and going out. It's not a counting job to do bank recs. Maybe assist, but it was stated by nicely too, that they're in there almost every day. They should not be in there every day.
No.
You know, if it's once in a while, you know, where something might affect the county, that's fine, but
A bank rec should be a treasury function, should it not?
it's totally treasury.
The several townships I talked to, they've done it the same way we were doing it, so.
Heidi, what's your opinion?
Honestly, we had Plant Moran talk to us about this last summer, about June-ish, and they said it was Treasury's responsibility. They said there's certain aspects of it. In fact, they tried to take the parts, some of the parts that we were doing and say Treasury should do this too. And the only reason I said no to that is because they said those are the parts like the payroll remittances and all the accounts payable and things like that, that we can reconcile
Right.
much easier and quicker because we have all the documents
Sure,
already.
sure.
So I said, we'll continue doing that part, but, yeah, they said it's treasury.
What percentage of your workload do you think that would be to pull that out, put it back where it belongs, or back in the treasury?
If you're just talking about the extra time, not the, you know, the accounting portion side of things, I don't know, I'd have to think about it a little bit more, but I know that in the past, up until I was on leave, I was spending several hours every month that I felt was not my
Not your job.
responsibility.
Mhm, mhm. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
There's that 50,000 too, so you don't forget. And on the bottom line, it was addressed about the capital assets purchased.
Oh, the kiosk?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was forecast, though. I don't think that's in the budget, right? That's just projected.
No, it's in the budget.
It's for the second year.
Second.
It's under the little B here at the very bottom line, in 23-24. Capital assets purchased.
I think we voted that down.
We did vote that down, yes, sir.
I recommend we pull it out. If you don't think that's a problem, go into McDonald's sometime and use your kiosk.
Oh, I hate it.
Me too.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
He actually did a study on it and said that, so when the health department went in there and they had these little guns, just like you do for heat and everything else, that they can see how much bacteria is on it, and they went like this and zapped on it. It's the dirtiest part in the building.
Oh, jeez.
Ew.
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 And they want me to push it?
That's where everybody's hands are.
Yeah, it's not happening. And I just don't even do fast food.
Yeah, the next item is the cemetery budget. I know that was kind of talked about. I just put a few points.
Wait, if you can hold on 1 minute, we all got to get to that page.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What is it for?
Cemetery
Cemetery, okay.
is, wait, I'm getting, where's it? Cemetery, page 11. General fund, page 11. If you put little numbers on the bottom of your pages, it's page 11.
I know this has been an area of neglect in the town, but I know everybody's got big ideas. We need to fix the plots, the fences. I was thinking maybe we come up with like a 3 to 5 year plan, how to maybe prioritize what we need and
Start taking one cemetery at a time, and like,
kind of
let
hot
the
points, yeah.
guy stand right in and talk to us.
I mean, obviously, like, I think it'd be nice to fix the fences, be the first thing, but I know those stones, it's not just scrubbing them, they need a special, what is it, like a solution to clean them?
Yeah, the solution is basically soap and water, so scrub brush and stuff, but it's the time and everything else, there's a lot
But I'm
of
saying,
broken
like,
ones.
Maybe we could draw a map through like so many plots per year kind of thing.
So we already have that already done with the cemetery in Washington. The gentleman came out and gave me an outline again. It was in the neighborhood of $25,000 to do the entire thing. Now, he can't dedicate that much time because he has other clients across Southeast Michigan that he services. So he did say that if, this makes it through the budget, he could do probably half. this year, and we could budget the other half. And he did tell me that he will honor his wage that he's stating for this year as well as for next year to complete that project, at least there. And then we could move on forward and have him look at other cemeteries that need to be done. Regarding the fencing, again, Paul Road is farm fencing and cyclone fencing that has already been ran into, that's never been replaced, happened before we took office. That, I got a quote, and that was about $50,000 over there to get something done.
But that's the nice aluminum one?
That's the aluminum rail fencing. Again, we could do that in pieces as well, you know, maybe a little bit here and there. I happened to be at a funeral again last week with Mount Vernon. That old cemetery fence is about at its end as well, and probably needs to be replaced, so that's a big chunk of land out there that is fencing along the Mount Vernon and 28 Mile Road. So I haven't even started to look at it.
Is all that in here, Stan? I'm not-
No, that is not. That's
Okay,
just
that's
things
what
that I've observed and
Yeah,
looked
so
at.
that's why we might want to bump up something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we need to bump it up then.
Yeah.
And then, I know it's a pet peeve, but the plot fees, I was thinking maybe we could look into increasing those a bit.
Well, that's one thing that, if you don't mind if I can jump in, or Cook Krasinski and I had that conversation a couple of weeks ago. And I told him I'd be more than happy to sit down with him after the budget season and look at all of our costs there and where we need to be and do comparisons in that. For example, up in Bruce, I watched their meeting, they're $500 for residents, $1,000 for non-residents. And I heard that we were like at $350, right?
I thought we were 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's 3 or 350.
Right.
And there's
So,
it's a
the
3
point
and
is
350
that we're a lot
administration
less.
fee.
So we can look at that, we can look at the amounts, we can look at opening, closing, all of that stuff that goes in with the cemetery, and maybe start building a little bit of fund balance, so that when we need these fences and things like that,
Yeah, help offset it.
let the people
Can that be
who are.
retroactive?
No, we're not voting. I think you caught that
Oh,
one,
the
didn't
people
you?
are in the, yeah.
People in the cemetery voting. No, but, so if it's okay with this board, I'd like to work with Stan on that right there and see what we can come up with and turn this thing from the red to the black.
I don't know what other townships have cemetery. I know Bruce does, but
Just about everyone has them.
Yeah.
because Shelby doesn't have them anymore, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, they do. Oh, I thought they didn't have them.
And all those little,
I didn't know if they sold them off or something.
anybody that had a cemetery that's full, basically gets turned over to the city, the township, village, whatever it is, and it becomes your issue. And you get to maintain it for the rest of the time that you live here.
The one at 26 a mile, that Cannon one?
Cannon one is
That's not
private.
organized.
No,
That's
it's
not,
not.
okay.
My
Because I'm always
understanding is
afraid the
not.
trees are so big, they're like, I feel like they need to be trimmed.
Yeah.
Is there a separate line item here? What does it cost to maintain the cemeteries annually? Is this the contract maintenance service, is that what that is?
That's where some of
I mean,
that
like,
is.
yeah, the third column, right now, year to date's 25,000.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that line item 22,930.
So again, something else that I just learned about at this last burial is I had the assumption that we plowed, but we don't. So
Oh,
that's something else that should probably be added for those who want to visit during the colder climate days, that we have no plowing unless there's a burial happening and then we plow. So,
So if residents want to go visit their loved ones,
they're
Other than
gonna try
putting boots
to,
on.
and the other thing that's, again, taking over, and want to thank Rich and the DPW department and their input and everything that goes on there. On the south entrance off of Mount Vernon, there's a little swale, and it gets sloppy and muddy and holds water at times. And there was talk that we had at that burial that, you know, maybe that's something that we need to put in some kind of French drain or something over there to eliminate that standing water, because the Hearst had a hard time in the slop and ice trying to back up into the area that we were at. You know, so again, fortunately that day, it was just a individual being buried with the DPW staff, myself, and the
Yeah,
funeral director. But it could have been a big ugly mess
Yes,
if we
could have.
didn't have,
I'm picturing Three Stooges type stuff in my head right now, they could have gone wrong.
well, there were 4.
And even taking it a step further, Stan, is the main driveway, right? The thoroughfare through there, there's no money in here
Yeah.
for like gravel, for
Yeah.
stone, so
Yeah.
that people can drive on it, and it, you know, and over time, they're just pushed into the ground.
Yeah, and as
You don't add a small layer every once in a while, it's just, you just have mud.
And that was something that Kirk says too, that we, when they spread the millings, was it from last time here, Rich?
Yeah.
That they took it, and they spread it, there are some areas that it got spread, but it's thin. It's not 4 or 6 inches, it might be an inch over there. It's primarily sand, but you still need a base of something to drive on.
Yes.
Right, right,
If we don't limestone campground this year.
I was just
Yeah, that's
thinking
what I
the
just
exact same
3
thing.
miles of cemetery?
Yeah, use that,
Make it
use
about 3
limestone.
feet thick.
There you go.
Well, I would probably do all 7 or 8 cemeteries you have.
There's only, I think, 2 of them that actually have drives
Hey,
into them now.
They won't
Okay.
the people at the cemetery won't complain.
Keep the noise down.
So again, not something that we have to tackle all at once, but something that needs to be aware that there are issues and an area in which we can start looking at spending some money there to fix them up and make them a little bit
So
nicer.
we should, we need to, yeah, I agree.
We could do that, make a cemetery committee.
Make a list.
How much are you looking at adding then to this?
Like I said, there's just still a lot of thought that has to go on. What was here is just thoughts of what we currently were working on. But again, as I go, I learn more.
Yeah.
You know, talking to DPW, I mean, and I think I mentioned at the one board meeting, I said, could be $200,000 worth of improvements and things that need to be done to do it all right now. But if we look at it on a longer term basis of
Yeah.
tackling a little bit each year, here and there, you know.
Maybe do 2 cemeteries a year, completely get them up.
Right.
You know, do a high and a low, so that as we get closer and closer, the costs of them are all spread out there. And within less than 4 years, you'd have them all done.
Yeah.
Then like in the corner of each cemetery, there's all the broken steeples, I mean, those need to be repaired too.
Yep. Yeah, that's all stuff that he went
Yeah.
and inventoried and did, and
Yeah,
so.
hopefully they're all there.
Yeah, I think it's an ongoing project, but could we budget up more with contract maintenance services in case we get to that? Again, it's sort of the last project that gets taken care of, I think, in the township.
Yeah.
But it's a shame
Cemeteries.
because it's our residents.
Yeah,
We should be taking care of our residents.
so,
Okay.
there used to be a sexton that took care of that, now that's pushed into the clerk's department and all that, so all that at one point was another job that someone else handled that moved over there when the economy went bad, so, and I think, again, it's time to open that up
And what
again,
years
but
did we
when,
have-
I don't know.
When did we get rid of the sexton? What year? 09, 08?
Probably 8 or 9, yeah. Whenever, when, I can't remember when that wall used to be in, so whenever that,
What about if we make that list, we can spread it out.
Well, what
over
time do you
3 years
remember?
maybe.
a year,
I want to say it was like, when did you retire?
that's what I don't know, I can't remember.
2009, 2010?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Would that be a part-time job or full, I mean, that's not a
It
full-time
was,
job, is
no, it
it?
was a part of his other duties.
Yeah, he was our ordinance enforcement.
Yeah,
So
It's
ordinance
full-time,
enforcement
I
and
guess.
sexton.
And
yeah.
he was our liquor inspector too.
Well, okay, he had cool
Tester.
jobs, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was the tester.
Yeah.
But that sounds like a great job.
So Rich, let me ask you, is there any kind of a plan that we could put together that would maybe incorporate the DPW department, you know, with you getting the extra help to maybe do some of this stuff? I'm not looking at you to do it, I'm asking for your input, sir.
Yeah, I think we could look at it with Sam and that.
Yeah.
You need to go, if you guys like a committee, maybe you do the roads first. Pick he knows the busiest cemetery, right?
Yeah.
On Mount Vernon's probably the busiest.
That is most
Maybe you want to fix the roads first, you know, there. Fence, the cosmetic stuff maybe a little bit later, but the graves, you might be up on your list too, I don't know. Yeah, we can do that, I mean,
But again, Rich, I talked to him about this side note of, hey, we had some money left in the budget. I'm looking at fencing, should we buy fencing? He was gonna offer, if the DPW, if those guys could do it, to buy it, and then if the time crunch is just getting too close, so I just said, we'll just hold off on not spending anymore, because we wanna make sure we have all our monies in and we get to balance our books at the end. But, no, the DPW has always been good, the building department helps out as well when we have stuff going on too, that, you know, we need something.
Just so you know, we got a salt spreader on our thing. Dave's been salting the cemeteries for us because all we got is a little cushion. So we'll be able to do that, you know, like when that funeral you had to go over there.
Right.
So speaking
But
of
we're gonna have a
fencing,
bigger one for
sorry.
the truck.
we're buying fencing for a memorial, right? And I'm not sure, I don't know off the top of my head how much we're paying for that, but can't they just order more and like use the same fencing?
I don't know what you're ordering and doing, we have to look and see what the two materials are.
It's aluminum.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lifetime kind of.
Wouldn't that look good though, if we just
Well, that's
keep
what
it all
my
uniform?
envision is making them consistent to what we have over there at 29 Mile Road, that all of them sort of look that way. I've had some people have input saying that deers have been impaled by those things, and maybe we should get the kind with the top on it, so we don't have that.
Ours is a, when you kill deer, we don't want to kill
No.
deer. Okay.
But even if you have the other style of fencing, like I had in the back of my property, that that they had put around the development there, around the mining operation there off of 30 Mile Road, the deer jumped it. It's a 6-foot high fence, and even if you have the link, one deer caught his hoof in there,
Right.
and I had to literally go over and free him up. It was either that, or, you know, the officer was gonna put him out of his misery. So, you know, it's gonna happen, whether they impale themselves, they get caught, whatever. Something's gonna happen a couple times a year. And you can try everything you wanna do, but it's still gonna happen. You know, I don't think there's any way around it. You don't wanna see it, but it's gonna happen. But the fencing that you guys are getting for around the memorial, that's all powder coated, correct?
Aluminum.
Yeah.
Aluminum
It's
powder
only,
coated.
it's only like
That's
4
the
feet
best.
high, right?
Yeah, it's only 4 feet.
So, yeah, that's not gonna,
You typically want 5 foot around the cemetery, I believe.
Yeah, because people are dying to get in.
people, I know what, why.
You want to keep them in there.
He's been not out.
Why does it have to be 5 feet high?
I think it's either 5 or 4.
I think it's
no
4.
idea.
I think it's 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stan, it was 2008.
That had what, retired?
74 to 2008.
Yeah.
My gosh. So, I have another question. Are we hiring a code enforcement officer? Because I think that's kind of, isn't that something we kind of really need? I don't know what budget that would be under.
Yeah,
Enforcement?
we have it in the budget for,
Building department, right?
it's, well, it's actually under, 101-347, I believe, the ordinance
101.
enforcement.
Which one is that?
101-347.
Is it under which, in here? Under which? 101-347.
Page 12.
It's been in there a
Page
few
12,
years.
right.
We left it as a part-time still, and, but
Thank you, thank you.
since we've taken office, we've had about 5 pages, we've gotten it down to 1 page. And then I've been having the building department, they've actually been working on Saturdays, removing all the signs. Because signs seems to be the big thing every weekend. They put them up Friday night, and they take them down Sunday morning.
And
So
then
we're trying to catch them off on the guy.
And then the people, the businesses that have put signs in the back of their property on 53, they got a sign on their frontage, now they got another sign here, and they're exceeding what zoning allows.
They're like,
Pardon?
some of them have approval for signs. You are allowed, if you have property that fronts the expressway, you can have a sign on the back of the building, but you have to go through the process. There are businesses that have, I just want to separate, there are
On
ones
the
that are in
back
violation.
of the building, you said.
On the building, correct.
But this right, these are literally,
The
in the
billboard
ground.
signage,
yeah, in the ground, and those aren't allowed by zoning.
no, not ones that were,
So
ones that were
you got a
permitted
couple
by
of
the
business
state.
over there, one, D&B Auto, and the other one,
Yep,
The landscape direct, or not landscape direct, the other landscaping place.
United Landscape?
Thank you.
No,
Yeah.
no, no.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, their banner signage, the one is banner, right, for United?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, and those aren't allowed either, right?
Those two are not permitted by ordinance. no.
Right, so, yeah. What's good for one is good for all, you know, that's all it is.
Yeah, there are some permitted through the state though, just so that you're aware.
If they're permitted, but if they're not,
Yeah,
that's a
absolutely.
different issue.
The capital approval. Oh, I don't know.
Hey, Sam, I just want to.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to do the capital
I mean, we
approval.
can go a few minutes over, we got to
Sorry,
reset up in here.
I just wanted to show the
Election
capital
training
approval.
was-
I was gonna say, I guess, we'll go over capital improvement, but any other questions, maybe copy Heidi and Stan and me and
Okay, all
try
right.
to answer quickly.
I didn't realize the time, sorry.
Oh, no, we're
I
fine.
think it doesn't start till 6.
Just want to make everyone aware, that's all.
No, we actually did pretty good.
Yeah.
So we're on capital improvement now? Okay.
Other service activities.
So you're expecting zero money in federal grants? Zero money in state initiatives?
So Sam, one thing that's been brought up on the capital improvement fund is the water mains that are being dragged around. Those coming out of water and sewer versus out of the general fund when it's protecting the whole township. So I think that should be revisited as to where the money's coming from. Anybody else have any input on it?
Like I said, I'm Kozak has the whole write-up on it, but, yeah, well, it's, again, it's spread out through, you know, all the groups, but I know it's become a hot topic, but,
Well, yeah, because, you know, it's just the users that are getting charged for it.
no, I know, we had Stan talk to Luther yesterday, but anyways, we're talking about that.
Yeah. You know, I mean, we definitely have residents that are paying attention to this.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
I mean, we have the fund balance too, we could also use that, or we put a bond on it.
Can I
I
ask
mean, like-
Rich on that?
Sorry, what's the?
I just want to ask Rich, in other communities, when, again, you know, when you started with Clinton Township, it was, you know, one log cabin and you just kept on growing, but.
it ain't that.
Sorry, Grandpa. But no, I just want to,
You and Davy Crockett.
I just want to know, when they dragged lines there in areas that previously didn't have a water line for fire suppression, is that a typical thing that happens in other communities where, or is it generally out of the general fund, or how is that accommodated?
Like over in Clinton, it's usually out of the water and sewer fund. When Clinton started, way back then, they did the same thing that basically we're doing now, doing all the main roads, the outskirts, to get your grid system in to start with.
Yeah.
And that was all bonded, believe it or not.
Bonded, you said?
They went for bonds
Okay.
for that.
And I'm not
Once they got-
disagreeing with doing the grid and having it set up, I'm just, the funding of it
Yeah.
is maybe where there's discrepancy of coming out of your fund.
Yeah, if you wanna do the fair, you get a bond.
Right. Usually it's out of the water and sewer fund.
So can we do that, find out, and do the fair thing?
I mean, after last week, that Oakland house burned down, I mean, I don't know what more proof you need water, you know, fire protection. They couldn't control it even with all that snow and rain.
That house on Hillside, right there, Hillside?
Yes.
That's the golf course all over, you know,
Yeah.
and that goes,
The Monster House?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I want to get that, I left a call, he gave me the number
Yeah.
to call him, I left him a message, Dave gave me the number. We need to Seven Lakes seems like they're willing to give us an easement, but we're only in the preliminary talks on that.
Isn't there a fire hydrant in Seven Lakes on Tamarack Court that you could use, you could use to, like fire suppression on that big huge mansion?
Well, I'm sure they would set something up there. I'm not the East Fire, but the thing you want to get away with is crossing roads, main highways, berms that are 12, 14 foot high for a guy to try to put a
That's
line
a hydrant.
and pull a hose with the truck. You can't, you know,
Are
you
you talking
want,
about putting
you want
like
something on
A
the,
road in between that?
you want something on the road, their road.
You're talking about an easement or something?
Yeah, we need an easement to go through that. The water main's there, and I think Mike even looked at, we'd have enough water to just set the first hydrant there, or one or two, and then if anyone wants water there, it's there, you know.
So since Hillsdale's a private road, do the township still pays to put the fire hydrants in?
Oh, yeah, that's,
Okay.
it's always
Right.
the water and sewers.
Sam, I got a question on, I've got it listed under building operating, 101, 265, 801. It says contract maintenance service. We approved 538, this year it's 871, it's up 334,000. What's that about?
I can bring that up for you one second.
Okay.
I think there was 125,000 for that schoolhouse,
125,000 for the which?
schoolhouse.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah, oh, okay. This is under,
That's the one you're asking about, right?
101, 265, 801, contract maintenance service.
yeah, I put it in there in case we wanted to decide, there's another deal for you guys if you want to decide. We still haven't gotten a firm price, I haven't approached, I thought if we wanted to buy the schoolhouse and move it to that park, we thought with the price to buy it, move it, and refurb it, we kind of went on the high side at 125.
But these are the items that detail out your
But yeah,
question.
this details on all of it. We're looking to do the parking lot up front, that's in bad shape, that's the big money ticket item.
Has anyone sent a structural engineer to that little schoolhouse yet to see if maybe?
Yeah, we had a building, he sent out an EW to look at it. It's possible to move it for that.
Oh, good. Good.
So let me
Or
ask
we
you a question.
we might even keep it there.
If you're looking at redoing this parking lot here, would it make sense to cut that area where the flag is out there and move the flag back, cut that area back and add another 4 or 5 parking spaces up there? Because we are such a tight township as far as parking. Would that make sense?
I'm just throwing out an idea.
During the week, we really don't have a problem with parking. I know at nighttime sometimes we do.
I was talking to Parks and Recreation picks up all the stuff on that side.
We've been having them park on that side because the entrance is there just to free up the front spot. I mean, we can look at the cost. I think it's more of an aesthetic thing to have that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking, but that flagpole could be easily moved and cut that straight.
Just add, maybe other things, have spots right there, very,
Another half a dozen spots, 5, 6 spots.
second to the vision where you're
What about the second entrance and exit, closing that off? That was the original intent when we put the boulevard, was to block that because of the close proximity between the eye doctor and us. Is that we were gonna block that off and then put additional parking spaces over on that entry. That's why we did the boulevard.
We were never supposed to have a horseshoe
Yeah.
apparently, you know. This entrance was supposed to be.
Is that why that cross easement with the Lions Club was put in there so that?
Yes.
that
Yeah.
they're-
Yeah. Just a thought, I mean, we wanna add more parking, it's dangerous.
We put the sidewalk, our favorite topic, but the sidewalk in front, which would fall in line with that bump out. But that too, they're starting shift and they've been, I don't know what the term is, puttied in over the years.
Yeah, probably, the sign, what house.
But I mean, that's the big money ticket is to redo the parking lot. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, we just did a seal coat.
David and I have talked about it many times, just more, you walk out there to see if the gaps are getting bigger and everything's happening.
Just the entire parking lot surrounding the entire building, the entire parking lot. Like, what are you talking, like, rip it out and redo it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's time to go to the base right now.
Yeah.
You can't
Well,
know.
Wow.
it too.
And that'd be one section at a time, right? Because you can't shut the one section at a time?
Oh, I don't know how they would do it, but I mean, you probably section at a time,
Wow.
but you gotta get down with the base this time.
We just did it at our church, we were looking at $1 million.
Yeah, I remember that, it's doing yours.
Is curb cleaning that one?
Where are we at?
6,000 for curb.
Twice a year.
Wow, that's. I think it was
We've got a
that.
lot of stuff that we gotta clean.
No, I know. We've been having a bug problem, I know that's not a, but we put that in there, but working. We put 75,000, we'd like to update the alarm system. There's an annual elevator maintenance, the typical, there's some grass cutting, any general repairs in the building. And that's 5:05, so Stan's gonna pretty soon kick us out. But, yeah, if you guys wanna, I guess, collect any questions, and maybe, Heidi, if you can, those changes, send them back out.
Yep.
The
I
next
will be
day.
with Mike for that, but I was scribbling down some notes as.
If residents are watching at home, you can email any one of us, any suggestions you have. Thank you for watching.
Sam,
Yeah, yeah.
if I can throw out a few thoughts.
Yeah.
So, one of the things we just discussed here was finding out for the water line throughout the township. Okay? If we do that, we don't need as much, as large of a fund balance. Okay? So could we then maybe reduce to the water users the amount that they pay within either the water itself, which is pretty much a fixed cost, but as far as the other one, the service charge, because that's where the extra money is going to do that. So could we reduce that right there?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to reduce the service charge. That's what we're waiting
Let's
for.
look at reducing the sewer charge.
Yeah, well, in April, we're doing, COSAC, we have that with GLWA, and they're gonna come in, it's like a 5-year audit. They come in and they're gonna explain it, so that's what I'm hoping that we can
Yeah,
reduce some of the
we
service.
talked
charge.
about this at a board meeting,
Yeah.
just 2 months ago, and we said, no, we're not freezing anything, because there was a couple of suggestions, like, instead of 3/4 inch line, there's charge this amount, half line, and then charge this amount. So I'm thinking that that's an opportunity where we could reduce the sewer charge within the water and sewer rates that we charge the residents. The other thing I'm looking at is, as we're growing in that, I think we have a pretty good healthy fund balance in just about everything, that maybe we consider freezing property taxes for this year. We're adding new residents every year, and I think we have an opportunity that we could step up and freeze the property taxes. For 1 year, let's see where we go. I think if we took the budget and we looked at what we spent this year, what we finally take in at the end of 2022, that I think we'll still see that we have a surplus. So why do we need to charge additional mills for, raise the amount of the SED for the property taxes? So I think
That's gonna be a petty question, Dan.
Yeah.
Regarding assessing, I don't know if the state does that, because they collect revenues too, so.
Well, that is
More
something.
than what we do.
I understand that, but that's something that can be looked at. It's a discussion item, right?
Yeah.
It's a discussion
We
item.
get 6% of that.
Pardon?
It's like 6% comes to the township.
Right, but it's a discussion item.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, because we've been going through the Parks and Rec thing, that we are going to be managing our Parks and Rec. There's no doubt in my mind that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think we need a category here for Parks and Rec, that we need to add a place that we can put money in. And then that way there, we invest that within our borders. So those are my 4 suggestions, sir.
So it'd be Parks and Rec Fund? Parks and Rec
Yeah,
Fund.
create a Parks and Rec fund, right?
Yep, yep.
So that we know how much money we're collecting in the millage,
Uh-huh.
and where it's going. I mean, if we continue the relationship, if they accept it, otherwise, March 8th, March 9th, you know, we're going a different direction.
Heidi, did you want to address what we talked about earlier on those changes that are going to be occurring with the funds?
Oh, sure. One of the items that's changing based on the state is the uniform chart of accounts, and there's a lot of work to do to get that accomplished. It's not gonna affect the current fiscal year we're in right now, but it will change this summer. The changes will take place and they will affect our 22, 23, and going forward budgets. And how some of the accounts are presented on the financial statements. Excuse me. Meaning, like, for example, the expendable trust fund is not allowed in the new chart of accounts. So that fund would have to be eliminated. And those expenditures would have to go under each of their appropriate funds that they would belong in. So that is one thing that was suggested to do now, because as of the next fiscal year, we have to treat it as though that fund doesn't exist, because it won't.
That's pretty low value budget or fund.
Well,
isn't
it's
it?
not, I'm sorry, it's not just that.
Oh,
But
okay.
that's one of the items
Alright.
where a fund would have to be eliminated, and those items would have to go under their respective funds.
Okay.
But then there's a lot of other changes as well, not that we necessarily have to do right this moment, because they would still be within their own funds, but let's say their account number would change. So that's not, I don't think, as like urgent.
Yeah.
Some of these where the fund is changing, I think, are more important to look at now versus.
And that's gonna be a big job to convert those funds, because I went through it one
Yeah.
time years ago, and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, that's one thing we were actually looking to have Plant Moran's GAP team assist us with, because they had said it was a very big job.
Yeah.
Just to finish this up, the suggestion that Mike made as far as putting a separate line item under the departments for Plant Moran, did that get copied?
Yes, I got that done.
Cool.
The last request that I have is next year when we look at these, for them to all have their headers as to where they are, and all of these to be page numbered
Yeah.
and dated, so that if we're given another copy of it, we know which is the right copy, and we're not going off the wrong information.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of these have been kind of put out in a hurry, so.
I understand.
But
And,
otherwise, yes, I agree.
we can always make things better, all right? And if
Absolutely.
we don't talk about them, we won't make them better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So at our next meeting, what's gonna be the objective as far as the budget?
I mean, traditionally, like, March 9th and 16th are our next 2 meetings. March 9th, I'll do the presentation of the budget, and you guys could actually vote on it that night, or traditionally we vote on it the next week. If you guys want to speed up the process, we could actually vote that night, and on the 16th, I know I'm asking a lot Friday, we could do the amendments the following week and get it done a couple weeks ahead of time. But also, I know we have an election in between, that's why Stan's kind of busy, but unless you guys want to meet again next week, that's fine too, but we have to work around the election schedule. So, but if you guys want to do the question thing and see if we answer your questions in the meantime, or
I think that's part of
we
the
can always
analysis.
call a meeting if you guys want a meeting.
I won't be available next week at all.
Oh, okay. I mean, if you want to try
Email?
I think as long as we're asking questions and giving answers, we're not deliberating, that's fine.
Can we do a budget amendment without the reconciliation being done?
I'm sorry, budget amendment for.
Can we do a budget amendment without the reconciliation being done?
Oh, good point.
I guess, Heidi.
So you
I guess we'd have to talk to plant and see if we could get an estimation of continual charges, if that's possible. I can ask that as well.
And did we have a discussion about removing large ticket items from the actual budget and putting them someplace else?
We
You
have
know what I
not
mean?
had that discussion.
Like taking things like,
Like capital plan.
Capital
Yeah.
expenses.
yeah.
Does that make sense from an accounting standpoint to do that?
No, what do you mean exactly?
In other words, if we had a meeting and we all agreed that we need a capital plan for 22, 23 plan, you're gonna include things like the fire station, the new fire station, the new DPW building, the new rehab of the existing building, maybe even the sidewalk that's out there. Pull it out and make it part of the capital budget.
Because they're one-time charges.
Right, they're one-time charges.
And that way there, everything else stays pretty much on a plateau.
So we know what it actually costs to run the township. We know what it actually costs, and all these huge extra things aren't in the budget, because they're not part of the budget all the time.
Not skewing the numbers.
Right.
So maybe, I don't know that we could remove it from the budget, but could we show it down below, like take out that,
Yeah.
the
So up here
extraordinary
is this
item?
section and down here is capital for that area.
Yes, right.
And do that for each area. And then maybe to a summary sheet, bring all the capital to one summary sheet so that it can all be analyzed and we go to look at it and say, wow, we got $40 million here that we want to invest. Do we have $40 million and, can we support this? Or it's only $6 million and yes, we can support it. We can analyze it a little bit better than that.
basically you're saying, look at which fund it's coming from too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, correct.
And if it's under the general fund or the bond fund.
Yep. I'll work on it.
Does that make sense, Heidi? Yeah.
Thank you for taking my idea and making it make sense.
We all work together, right?
Just so you know, the pumps are in there. So, they're 3 weeks.
Assistant Chief,
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's not that bad.
you did a great job today.
Kenny, did you come in
I
for
didn't do anything.
anything or just wanted to come
Well,
back
I
and see us?
had some gentlemen from the Whispering Hills SAD came in, wanted to talk to me, and Doug was busy, so I had to go help, and then I just came back.
You want to address that question, Dan, now, since you came back?
I'm sorry, say that again?
I'm asking you, do you want to address that answer question?
Oh, okay.
Can we freeze, right?
All right,
Property
so a few years ago, I stood in front of the board and I asked Mike nicely this question because it had been done in another township not far from us here in Michigan. And I said, could we hold our, could we freeze our property taxes for this next year?
So no increase in SEVs?
Nothing.
No, it's against the law to do that. You have to put the 1.033, and they have to be 50% of market. And if you freeze it, you can't do that, no.
Can we decrease it?
The only thing you can
Because I think
decrease,
that's what they did, is they decreased it for 1 year.
they may have, we did decrease 1 year since I've been here. I've been here 28 years. 1 year, Michigan decreased 0.003%. So everybody's taxable went down $1 or something. I mean, it was ridiculously stupid. And that's when prices were falling like bricks. And that's when we didn't roll back. The only thing you could do is not take our full millage, but our millage rolls back so much every year, except for the down years. We didn't much. When I started working here, it was 0.77. Right now, it's 0.6074, I believe. I've got the paperwork
Yeah, I'm just
somewhere.
looking at
We
how
get nothing.
Yeah, I'm just looking at how much construction we have, how many new homes and that.
All of
But I'm
that
also
is-
looking at the inflation right now. People are having to shell out a lot of extra dollars. Can we give them any kind of relief? Is there any way?
They don't go up per market value, thank God. They only go up, this year it's gonna be 1.033. So that's what our percentage is. It'll never go over 5% unless you put something new on your house. If you add an addition onto it, then it matters. But, and other than that, all the new we're getting is hurting us because of the Headley rollback. They're trying to keep us about the same. Our new is going so much, we will probably actually lose money in the next couple of years for just the township. Our police, our ALS, and our fire should be okay because we don't use the full amount. Being we use our full 0.6074, whatever it is, we're gonna roll back because the more new we get in, the more Headley rollback hits us and the operating doesn't make any money.
So the short answer is no.
I wouldn't do it, not unless you plan on like decreasing our building and losing people.
Right. Sorry. No, just to piggyback, I think, I misunderstood it before, but that 6% we get, if we were to freeze it for 1 year, could we do that? And not charge
I
that?
would have to look that one up because I've never seen it done. And that would be great. I've seen it not go. I've seen it not drop. But I think you'd almost have to make it be like an election thing to have the people that it's really going to hurt, every one of our taxpayers, would have to vote for it.
Why would it hurt somebody if we froze it?
Why would it hurt them? Because we're supposed to roll back with all the new. So their taxable is supposed to go down.
I'm not saying roll back, I'm saying don't charge the residents that 6% this year.
Or if you wanted to charge them 5%. This is
That the township gets.
You mean
We're
just-
not playing with the rollback, we're not playing with the rollback.
I don't know what you're playing with. That doesn't sound legal to me.
No, like, out of our
Sounds like we're
taxes,
messing everything up.
out of all the millages that we have in town, the one is our operating at 0.06, whatever it is.
Right.
What if we didn't charge that 0.06 this year?
Then you wouldn't have any operating money.
I
Not
thought
total, just if you went down to .05 versus
Or you
.06.
got rid of 10% of it.
And we could manage it.
You could do that, and we'd still have to roll back from the 0.6.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
you
rollback
could
still
do
doesn't
that,
stay.
yes.
Yeah, the rollback still doesn't.
You
stay.
do not have to spread the whole thing. If that's what you're asking me.
No, we were just saying, instead of charging the 0.06, we charge 0.05 or 0.04 or whatever it is. But we won't play with the rollback, the rollback's the rollback.
Right, the rollback's the rollback, and it has to be done the same way.
It's like Walmart, the rollback.
No, a little different.
Yeah, but Macomb Township, I mean, I don't know if that's the city.
We could do that.
I don't remember the city of what it is.
But they were charging a lot more than us. I mean, they were charging a full bill, I think, and they went down. I think that's what they did, I don't want to be quoted.
They probably did just roll it back, and maybe that's what you were
I think they
talking
did
about.
what we were saying, just.
They actually reduced it. I'd have to see if I can find the article, because it was about 4 or 5 years ago, and I actually, spoke at the podium about that right there.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be, if we could do something, that'd be great.
We'd have to all decide to do that.
Yeah. There'd be a board vote? Would there be a board vote?
Oh, that would have to be a board vote, not to,
Yeah, because it
take
affects
off.
what we're.
So if we got rid of 10%, instead of 0.06, it would be 0.054.
Right.
Okay, and that gets 10%, so.
I think as long as you can't raise it, but I think you could lower it down and not use the whole thing. Yes, you did. I just misunderstood, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Sam, could we add that to the agenda for the next meeting and maybe take a look at that and let's get some relief because people, I don't know if that's the appropriate time.
Well, I mean, let's see what the
Well, run the
finances
numbers,
are.
yeah.
Yeah, March 31st, I mean, let's see.
But bring it back to us then.
Yeah.
Now, if you guys roll this back, I'm not gonna have to lose my part-time person, am I?
No, you just might have to,
10% of the.
make them an extra bologna sandwich or something.
Right, I gotta kick you guys out of here.
Okay.
All right,
We don't get to count the vote.
we talked about it being next week.
Did you guys want, or you want to try email?
As
As long as I get 18 hours, we can call.
My point is I can't do a meeting Wednesday. At all.
Yeah, well, I know he's tied up Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I'll be waking up on Thursday.
Thank you.
Thank you,
This meeting's officially adjourned. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.